So clearly Mexican immigrants aren't getting on the Trump bandwagon, and the candidate's loss in Wisconsin means he probably won't have enough delegates to clinch the Republican nomination in advance of the convention. So what's next for his campaign? I'm joined now by CNN political commentator Jeffrey Lord, who joins us via Skype. He is the author of What America Needs, The Case for Trump, and was the White House political director for the late President Ronald Reagan. Great to have you with us, Jeffrey.
Thanks for having me.
Donald Trump now needs to win about 60% of the remaining delegates if he is to avoid a contested convention. Looking at the states that are left, is that possible?
Sure, it's possible. Is it a hard slog? Yes. But is it doable? Yes. As opposed to, for instance, Governor Kasich, who's got a 125% chance of not being able to do this. So yes, Donald Trump can do this. But I would add that practice indicates that you can get close, and then delegates that are perhaps not in your corner can come around because they really do believe that the person with the most votes should win.
So if he is still leading right up to the convention but doesn't have enough delegates, he will cry foul. What sort of fallout will we see?
Well, it all depends on if he's treated fairly here. I mean, if he loses in some sort of fair and square fashion, that's one thing. But if there is, as is suspected, all kinds of shenanigans that are going to go on here to deny him the votes behind the scenes with manipulating the rules and that sort of thing, that's another thing altogether. Frankly, I think whoever would do that, the eventual winner if it were not for Donald Trump, would be self-immolated. I mean, they would have a very difficult time winning. They would anger so many people.
And speaking of the rules, there are Republican rules that say you have to win 8 states and secure more than 50% of the delegates in those states to be considered for the convention. Now, at this stage, Trump is the only one that has that. Those rules currently rule out Cruz and Kasich. So can those rules be easily changed?
Well, they can be changed. You know what is so ironic about this? This rule was a result of the Romney people 4 years ago trying to keep Ron Paul from being nominated. And when I say nominated, having his name placed in nomination at the convention 4 years ago. They didn't want anything to do with him. So they concocted this rule to keep him out. Well, now, 4 years later, this rule is coming around to bite them. And it's a lesson, I think, perhaps, that you should be careful what you wish for here, because when you monkey with the rules, you wind up, in essence, doing yourself in. So now they're in a pickle here of their own making.
How likely do you think it will be that Trump runs as an independent?
At this point, I would think not. I would think not. As long as he's treated fairly, he is, in fact, winning at this point. So. And not only is he winning, but he's coming into a series of states, New York, Pennsylvania, northeastern states, where he is favored, where he's ahead. He's ahead here in Pennsylvania. He's very much ahead. It's a new poll out, I think, in New York that has him ahead by something like 30 points. So he's coming to an area that's very favorable to him. So I think he really does stand a good chance.
Though he did lose Wisconsin, and he did put a statement out blaming Ted Cruz. He blamed local radio talkback hosts. He blamed the Republican establishment. Should he take any blame for that loss?
Well, I mean, this is what candidates do, to be perfectly candid. I mean, Senator Cruz blames others when he loses. All sorts of candidates do this. The Republican establishment of Wisconsin ganged up on Donald Trump. I mean, it's their right. It's a free country. It's their right to do what they wish to do. They did this, and Donald Trump didn't get the votes. So now we go on, and there is no Republican establishment to speak of in a place like New York. So they're sort of hard pressed here, and they're already starting to gripe. So this is just politics as usual, I'm afraid.
We will be watching that New York vote very closely. Jeffrey Lord, great to have you with us as always.
Thank you, Linda. Anytime.